What fetish were you most surprised to find out you had, developed out of nowhere? Not really a fetish, but my ex-GF and I had a thing where she would just be naked at home all the time, whether having sex or not. She was basically an at-home nudist. She was super into it too. I had asked her if she would just wanna be naked whenever at home with me, and she loved the idea right away. She would only wear clothes to go out. It was great. An ex of mine told me once about how they like to do pain and blood play. Instead of believing that doms must be mean, they would heap praise on their sub. "You're amazing. Look how many piercings you're taking. Wow, you're so strong. I didn't hold back at all when spanking you and you took it with no problem. You're incredible." That kind of thing. I don't even share that kink, but when they told me about that I, felt some tingles. Getting jerked off while I sleep. My wife did it for me one time and I woke up coming incredibly hard. Coming while half asleep was amazing, so I asked her to surprise me and jerk me off while I sleep every now and then. Edit, didn't know this would cause such a disturbance in thread. Obs, don't just touch people while unconscious if they don't give you the okay before. My wife and I have a very close and intimate relationship and we're very comfortable communicating all of our limits, desires. This is a desire I was open to and we love it. Imagine my surprise as a 18-year-old when my very platonic male friend called me good girl for completing a task in class, and it sent shockwaves through my system. I met him recently and he said it again and I turned away immediately so he didn't see my face blushing. When I was 18, I definitely realized how much of a praise kink I have. Edit, thank you for awarding me for my sexual awakening. I must say I'm flattered that this has garnered a bit of attention, but to clear things up for the few messages I received, this male friend is strictly platonic and I'm not attracted to him, but that good girl comment awoke something feral in me ever since, so thanks Ben. I've been told I give off dommy vibes and I'm glad, because it's a fucking blast to have complete control of how and when and where to get him right to the edge and stop completely, and then to be able to bring him over the edge and watch him squirm and hear him moan with pleasure, all because of you. It's amazing. So many guys, especially ones that come off as alpha, want to be downed so badly, and not the degrading and humiliating kind. My BF Pav loved me into having a mommy kink. We made fun of the daddy kink sometimes, so he decided to start calling me mommy to tease me. I'd cringe and he'd laugh. Eventually I decided to tease him back and called him a good mommy's boy, expecting him to cringe back, but instead he blushed and got hard LOL. I ended up continuing with it just because I'd realized he actually had this kink the whole time but was a bit embarrassed to say anything. All my friends would tell you I'm very maternal and nurturing, so I guess naturally it actually ended up being enjoyable for me. Guess my BF and I both secretly had that kink, only I didn't know it at first. Now I've just become a very soft mommy switch and we both love it. Raise the horseman. I've been around implements of attention, riding crops, spurs, and the like, all my life. I remember as a boy using a pretty hefty short bullwhip on the tack room door, playing out in my mind the transgressions for which must now deliver the punishment, consequence, severe, multiple lashings on that door, but compassionate, loving. I was 9, 10, never went to fantasizing whipping an animal, or God forbid a person, but I did awaken some awareness of power over that door. Then I grew up and sold my horse and moved away from home. It took me 10 years, but one day I found myself at a garage sale with casual hookup and there was a quirt for sale. Instinctively I reached for it and gave a swack on my new friend's ass that was clearly play, clearly out of nowhere and clearly hard enough. She almost sank to her knees. I did buy that crop, and I did use it. And damn, but it felt from that first pop that I had just discovered a superpower. What? A door that opened. I guess this kink didn't come out of nowhere, given my fantasy play in the tack room early on, but yeah, so I found out about this too a while ago and I have recently made a discovery. ASMR, normally it's people tapping on glass or plastic or something, which has various ranges of enjoyable to annoying depending. But did you know there is an entire term category of videos dedicated to just making kissing and licking noises directly into a microphone? If you have a decent headset, turn the bass up, turn the volume up and make sure you have surround sound on. I have never thought of this before a while ago and I'm really sad I didn't because oh man, the neck and back tingles, oh man, can really get you going. Hands. All my years living I never gave notice to hands, but with my current boyfriend I am obsessed with his. He works at a forge and his hands are rough and big. Even a simple thought of having his hands on my body gets me going. Edit. So the thing started as a joke with our friends on an app where when he mentioned what he did for a living I said, bet you have those manly hands, don't you? Everyone was laughing including me. Insert name here, has a hand fetish, but then I saw the hands and yep. Things happened and still do now. I have a friend who's made a career of giving massages. He's really good, and super good looking. Long before COVID, I went to his house for a session, where he had a room dedicated to massage. I had to cut my session in half due to a dentist appointment, and when I was getting dressed, I noticed I left a huge sweat stain in the area my lady bits had been. There was no denying where it was from. I panicked. I don't remember if I pulled the sheet off the table or not. I really hope I did. Before I left he mentioned he owed me another massage since this one was short. But what if I didn't take the sheet off the table? Question mark. Condom fetish. Yeah, I actually get more aroused by using condoms. The polar opposite of like 99.9% of dudes, I'm sure. I don't even have a latex fetish or anything. It's just the thought of this lubricated thing on me gets me going, and then finishing and pulling out and seeing this bulbous load contained in the end of the condom. Sometimes condom play after the fact is better than the actual sex. No idea where this came from. I totally get this. 70s TV had a lot of people getting kidnapped and tied up and or gagged, probably the fetish of certain Hollywood producer types for all I know. Well before puberty or any sexual awareness I remember feeling really funny in a way I didn't understand any time I saw this. It was a feeling that became familiar when I was a bit older. A fascinated arousal, well beyond the typical arousal of just seeing boobs or whatever. As soon as I became sexually active, 13-14, I wanted to, and did, explore tying up and being tied up. At that point I realized it was definitely there for me long before I understood it as a fetish. In the early days of internet porn, with the discovery of bondage sites my head almost exploded. Among other things, oddly, and somewhat sadly, the internet desensitized me to this to a point where it's no longer all that arousing. Too much of a good thing I suppose. I've never been considered dominant in any way. I've actually always been very timid in a lot of my relationships, but ever since I've gotten with my current girlfriend I've found myself getting off to just taking control of her. Like, she once asked me to get rough with her and I wasn't too sure if I was okay with it, but then I saw her under me and all the little whimpers she let out and just went fuck, this is new, and we haven't gone back since. My GF surprised me with this. When we first started dating, she was pretty staunchly against having kids, but 3 years and we both know that we want one kid, but, throughout the relationship she's sort of joked about it being a weird fetish. Then one day she sort of whispers to put our baby in her close to the end of sex and it really works for me. I had never had someone do that before. Now the entire time is her begging for me to put a baby in her. But it's about it being the most reptilian-brained, base-level thinking version of long-term dom stuff. Inserting race into it makes me a bit uncomfy, but I've dabbled in that kind of thing with past flings and girlfriends. A female friend came home to visit me, and she was being super nice. I got vaccinated and had a mild fever, and she laid beside me to comfort me. When I hugged her, I touched her in the lower back, sacrum area, and she told me that's my dangerous zone, better not touch it too much. Do you have one? I teased her by saying that if she kissed my neck, That would be dangerous too. It was a lie, but I could use that as a carte blanche to check whether she was really nice or really into me. Turns out she was into me, and I was into getting my neck kissed. Go figure, huh? Not super unexpected in hindsight, but for me it's electro play. As a kid I lived on some land with a poorly maintained electric fence, that translated into it being shorted enough so that when you grabbed it the wires sort tingled and made your hands tense up and try to let go at the same time. I'd grab it for fun. Flash forward to Burning Man, where I stuck my dick in an electrified glory hole multiple times after someone I nuded it and was rolling around on the ground whining like a little bitch. I also got cattle prodded and grabbed their electrified stripper pole. That one actually fucking hurt cause I think it was connected to a car battery. Oh shoot. Another Sparky. So, I don't know if this counts, because it's my main fetish, but my answer to this is electro. Years back I had a bunch of electric shock pens, and at one point I decided to, for fun, bring them out with the person I was dating and we played with them while playing with each other. We discovered you can do a poor man's body contact probe, a la Violet Wand style, by holding a shock pen on the other person with it active, and using your other hand elsewhere to touch them, which would be electrified. I was surprised when I used them or did this on certain areas, pussy, clit, etc., and it forced her to have really hard orgasms, without fail. It was also, of course, just cool running them over her bicep or leg or armpit or pussy and watching her muscles convulse. Then, she started playing with them on me, and when she hit certain locations it worked on me too. Feeling the electricity go through you, it suddenly insta-builds the orgasm hard and faster than I knew. I got off very hard and couldn't control it. I couldn't believe it at first, but it is true. When you get the placement right, electricity will force orgasms really hard. Every single time, though it took a bit of experimenting to find the right spots. I miss dating that person. The women I've talked about this with since didn't have an interest at the time in even trying anything with electricity, or anything else, and that killed all that, sadly. /end story. I now have more dedicated equipment that blows the old shock pens out of the water when it comes to forcing orgasms. Violet Wand. 1 STEM unit so far. It's really hard to describe. The orgasm feeling just starts wild fast, but no girl to play with. I have a long-term goal to find one open to electro play and just try things. For example, one thing I long for is to eventually try an electrosex technique where you hook up yourself and another person, for example perhaps electric sticky pads on your groin and the other person's, and have intercourse. Apparently, this causes the muscles to convulse to the point it feels like your genitals are moving on their own, and also forces orgasms as well. There are only a few stories on the web of people who've done this, but it's rumored to be very mind-blowing when done right, and there's a few rare accounts of this on Reddit, a few buried FetLife threads, 1 or 2 STEM forums, a few sex reviewers like Linked, and some STEM equipment manufacturer guides. Also, using the Violet Wand with the body contact probe attached to me, then doing things like a make-out session or actually giving oral to someone while electrified, all are things I want to try since it's said it's legendary in its effects on women, just like the shared circuit electro intercourse dash. But yeah, the electricity feels really good. I use my STEM unit often, and of course doing things like playing with the frequency, location. Regarding placement, here's a reference that might help others. https://www.sexmachinereviews.co.uk/advice/electrosex and STEM electrode positions.html, NSFW, etc. are sensation play like literally nothing else in existence with the way the current feels, but it ranges, based on what device you use or how you set it, from a massaging to a ridiculous vibration that is intense and internal and external as well. This directly correlates to the frequency setting, usually, to a tingle that goes through you, to a warm pulsing, etc. And I also mentioned how it'll build that getting off feeling fast. If at the right location it's a little weird, but it's real. I actually don't do this too often because of how intense it is, and before someone asks, Normal masturbating is not ruined for me because of this, thankfully lol. But you don't always want to use electricity every single time. You'd spoil yourself really badly. Although, of course Tim boxes, and violet wands to an extent, are all adjustable, so the current can be adjusted to a light tickling, a buzzy vibration-like feeling, or a subtle tingle, and then you're getting hot and bothered to this gentle, barely there feeling with the power set super low. It really is unlike anything else out there. It's really one of the least known but weirdest secrets out there, that electricity will get someone off when done correctly. Lol. One of the best, craziest, weirdly least known science secrets of ... I guess fetish play? Anyway, at first hand, can you elaborate on those electrified stripper pole ... lol. Wow ... that setup does sound ... a little ... Jimmy rigged, to say the least. Skeptical battery, lol. A tens unit or actually, violet wand would have been better and safer ... Hopefully it was set up someone who knows a little about electricity at least. Tell me, how did that handle? Were other strippers actually on it getting shocked? Have you done any other electro play? I'm super curious now. Do tell. Also, lol, you never hear from other Sparkies. Okay, so I was in an abusive marriage for 21 years, got a boyfriend after. He's long distance and I've only seen him once, but we've been getting more and more into detail about sexual likes and we started negotiating a consensual, non-consensual scene. I initiated the discussion. We got that negotiated and he suggested other scenes and I found that I really want to be dominated, and that I'm a baby girl, brat with the praise kink. Being called good girl gives me ladywood. The submissive is in control. So after thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense. I was in a marriage where I was non-violently raped and wasn't listened to. I can do this stuff with my boyfriend and trust that he will stop, because I control it. Not him. Submitting is a gift, and he will get that gift. Never could have done that with my ex. He invalidated pain, discomfort, and my emotions. TMI/NSFW, having my dick peed on. My girlfriend and I were going at it one night until she said that she had to go and pee, to which I didn't stop, much to her pleasure and panic. She began to do that thing where she was telling me to hold on but wasn't actually trying to stop me, a fetish of hers, when I don't stop. So I kept on going and her voice was growing higher and higher in pitch, grip getting tighter, legs squeezing, and then boom, it did not stop coming, no pun intended. It was just a lot of wet and warm shooting out onto me, my legs, and the floor, and her mouth was open but no sound was coming out. It was like someone shooting my legs with a water gun that had a little more spray radius. By the time she was done, she basically dropped and I stood there, blown the fuck away, and that's when it hit me. I want that every time. I casually ask her to pee on my dick, but whether she says yes or no is hit or miss. Always worth a try. Well, since I have a membership to kink.com, might as well fess up. Hahaha. I'm not really sure how to say it without offending people, and I absolutely do not want to trigger or offend anyone, but I love it when a person with nice boobs also has a nice cock. In the old days we called it something specific, but I don't think that phase is defensible now. I found out I loved it by accident a little time ago and it was some of the best sex I've ever had. I was dating someone named Elana, and when I reached under their skirt I was surprised but also super turned on. Wow, sauce. I'd how to explain it, but doing sexual stuff when there is a risk of getting caught. Growing up I didn't have much privacy, so I learned to be discreet. One day, my mom asked me something while I about to come. We were in separate rooms. I had to answer, and once she left, I had the most intense orgasm I ever experienced up until that day. I didn't realize it right away, but when I did I was shocked and a little ashamed of the pervertedness. I have a reputation for being a naive, innocent, and almost childlike person, despite being an adult, but knowing that reputation can be gone if someone is just the tiniest bit more observant than usual just does it for me. Chubby chicks. I've always been one to keep myself in shape and dated skinny, in shape girls, but got a little tipsy and slept with a friend of mine. Don't remember much of the night, but the next morning, we woke up, wondered what we did, and seeing as we were naked, put two and two together, went for it again, and after she rode me like Seabiscuit, and I seen that big ass and big boobs bouncing everywhere, I was hooked. Also, those chubby chicks don't leave my pelvis bruised like those skinny chicks.